We take you through all that has happened over the last week in global markets, as well as how indices have started this Monday morning, especially in Asia. All three indices started October on Friday on a positive note for US markets, but declined on a weekly basis. So the Dow was up 1.5% in trade, almost 1.5% in trade on Friday. However, it declined over 1% on a weekly basis to close the last 4 out of the last 5 weeks in the red. That doesn't look good for the Dow at all. The S&P 500 too was up around 1.15% in trade on Friday. However, the index, despite that gain, has declined over 2% to post what is the worst week for the index since February of 2021. So serious concerns there as well. Nasdaq too rose around 0.4%, but declined over 3%, again posting its worst week since February of 2021. Moving on to European markets, while European indices closed the week lower, investors were really worried about inflation. It seems the FTSE was down around 0.4% in trade on Friday and has declined the 3 days out of the last 5 days and has posted a weekly loss in 4 out of the last 5 weeks. The CAC 42 closed absolutely flat with a negative bias. In fact, was down around 4 basis points and has declined almost 2% to post probably the worst week since 20th of August 2021. The DAX was down around 0.2%. Now, what is telling here is that it has declined 2% over the last week, and that is the worst weekly decline since January of 2021. So real serious concerns there as well for the German index. Asian markets though today morning have started absolutely mixed. The Nikkei was down around 1/3% in early trade today morning. The ASX 200 was up around 1/5% in early trade today morning, and the Kospi was down around 1/2% in early trade today. The SGX Nifty futures though has gained around 0.5% in early trade today after closing the last 4 trading sessions in the red. So last week was quite a red week for the SGX Nifty futures. However, that has started to reverse in early trade today. That's good news for Indian markets as well. Moving on to oil. So the West Texas intermediary has jumped for a 6th week in a row to post the highest weekly close over the last 5 years. Brent too had extended its rally last week to 4 weeks in a row, posting the highest weekly close in almost 3 years now. Oil early in trade today was at around $75.5 a barrel, and Brent was just above the $79 a barrel mark. The London Metal Index last week declined 3% to post its worst week since the 20th of August 2021, and copper snapped a 3-day losing streak but declined in the last 2 out of the last 3 weeks. So commodities also seem to be cooling off a bit. Moving to gold, gold rose marginally as the dollar slipped obviously, and gold was at around $1764 an ounce in early trade today morning. Moving on to dollar, the dollar index has continued to rally 4th week in a row for that. It has posted its highest weekly close in almost a year. So good news for the dollar. The dollar index was lower around 4 basis points in early trade today. Though, excuse me. The US 10-year yield climbed for a 6th week in a row to post the longest weekly run, positive run since 19th of March 2021. The US 10-year Treasury yields are at around 1.458%. That's a sharp fall to start October for the Treasuries. Moving on to Bitcoin. Bitcoin jumped over 10% on Friday overnight. So on Saturday it was up 10%, and that is the highest gain for Bitcoin since 24th of May 2021. And Bitcoin is down around 0.75% in early trade today. and it's at around the 47,800 US dollar mark. That's a round up to start the week of what should be an interesting week ahead.